Hi, I'm Kiara from Norway. Please like and subscribe. From the moment I was born, my dad decided I'd be the future of our small country. He was the head of the government and was loved and respected by everyone. Dad always wanted me to be like him, so my training started pretty young. You must have seen kids running after butterflies in the park or jumping on couches. Well, I never did any of that. Instead, I had to attend special etiquette classes as soon as I was old enough to sit at the table. I never spoke loudly, and there were certain words I wasn't allowed to use, like poop or pee. Always say, "I want to drop the browns in the bowl," or "I want to put gravity to good use." Well, that did get me some strange looks in kindergarten, but I didn't care. One time when I was 7, I went with Mom to my friend's birthday party. I was having an amazing time stuffing my mouth with cake, but when I wanted a 5th helping, Mom refused. You know the sugar rush makes you hyperactive, Kiara. No more cake. But when Mom wasn't looking, I sneaked to the table quietly and cut myself a huge slice. Just then, Mom saw me and tried to snatch it from my hand when my classmate Naomi bumped into me and the cake went flying onto Mom's face.
What have you done? I wanted that cake. It's so yummy and sugary. Not like all those awful salads I have to eat at home. Here, have mine. This one's even more sugary since I added strawberry syrup on top. And here's a secret. Salads taste much better when you put chocolate sauce on it.
That was genius. I tried her recipe that night, and the sugar rush made me go wild. I transformed into a little tornado bouncing off the walls, destroying everything in sight. And Dad was not amused. He gave me the biggest lecture on how I needed to behave responsibly and grounded me for a week with no gadgets, no storybooks, and no desserts.
This should teach you how to live a disciplined life.
I sulked for hours but knew better than to argue with Dad. The next day at school, Naomi asked me if I tried her recipe, and I told her the truth.
But that's so lame. If kids won't eat sugar, then who will? We can't have the sugar factories go bankrupt, right?
After that day, Naomi brought sweet treats for me every day, and soon, we became best friends. Meanwhile at school, I studied my butt off to ensure I topped my grades. I knew it was always expected of me, and I loved studying anyway, so I wasn't complaining. But studying wasn't the only thing I was good at. By the time I was in high school, I was the president of the student council, a national-level chess player, and the best actress in the school's drama club. And I absolutely loved the drama club. It was the only time in my life when I could forget who I was and slip into the life of another character. One time, I got chosen to play Juliet for an inter-school drama competition, but the guy playing Romeo broke his ankle and got replaced by the biggest jerk in our school, Justin. And he was so annoying. Ever since I'd made fun of his gigantic glasses in 1st grade, he'd held a grudge against me and was such a pain in the butt. Romeo, oh Romeo, where art thou, oh Romeo?
Kiara, oh Kiara, I'll make you a tiara of spiders and flies all dead to put it on your ugly head.
That's not what you're supposed to say.
No? Sorry, I forgot my lines.
But you're such a piece of art that poetry just flows out of me whenever I see you.
God, why was he such a moron?
Other than this minor glitch called Justin, my life was perfect. Hey, Naomi, I won the Spanish debate competition. Again.
Could it be that no one else participated?
Well, it's not my fault everyone's scared to compete against me.
Girl, why don't you just slow down and enjoy life? You know, you don't have to be perfect at everything.
I know, but that's just how I am.
No, it's just how you've made yourself to be. Tell me, when's the last time you went to a party?
I don't know, but that reminds me. Dad's hosting a dinner for his politician friends tonight, and your dad's invited too, so you better come along. That night at the dinner, all the adults were mingling with each other while Naomi and I sat in a corner sipping orange juice.
What a bore fest.
Catch me if I fall asleep. What's wrong with this party? The music's nice, the people are classy, and the food is good.
How dare you call this food? Cows eat this stuff. Burgers, cupcakes, extra cheese pizzas, that's real food. As for the people, I bet they secretly hate each other. Can't you see all the fake smiles?
That's called being polite. Polite my butt. After putting me through this torture, you've gotta accompany me to the school's camping trip this weekend. I don't think Dad would. Just then, Dad walked over and said he wanted to introduce me to someone.
Kiara, meet Ted. His dad's a media mogul in the US. And my dear friend, we keep joking about you two getting married. Why don't you two get to know each other?
Ted took me out for a stroll in the garden, and it was so awkward. He cracked the lamest jokes, kept bragging about how rich and famous his family was, and even tried holding my hand once. I avoid holding hands since it's the flu season, and I can't risk catching an infection.
I like it. A girl who knows how to take care of herself will take good care of my babies too.
What the freaking fudge? Thankfully, at that moment, someone came looking for him and he left. I thought of escaping to my room when I saw Naomi at our mansion's gate talking to someone. It was Justin, and he was dressed as a pizza boy. What are you doing here?
Belly dancing. Can't you see I'm delivering pizzas?
Sorry, Kiara, but I was starving and the food at your party is, terrible. But Naomi, it's healthy and it's good to eat healthy food. Good luck trying to convince yourself, hun, but I'd rather eat unhealthy food and go to heaven sooner. Yum.
I have a spare pizza if you want some.
I can't eat junk food and take risks with my health.
Holy potatoes. I always thought you were a snob, but you're actually a nutcase. I guess it's no fun being you.
Can you stop being a jerk? It's easy for you to judge when you don't know a thing about me or my life. Feeling angry, I turned and stormed off. But deep inside, I knew no matter how much I tried to deny it, Justin was right. It was no fun being me. Feeling a bit frustrated, I went to Dad's study later that night to have a heart-to-heart conversation with him. I had to tell him about that self-absorbed dimwit Ted, and that there was no way I could have a future with him.
What do you mean Ted's not your type? You don't even know him yet. Besides, I've decided this marriage will be great for your political career.
Marriage is not a deal, and I'm still a teenager.
So where's the rush? You two can start dating and then eventually get married.
I couldn't believe my ears. Dad had decided my future and I had no say in it? I was so mad at Dad that the next day at school, I told Naomi I'd accompany her to the camping trip. Your dad agreed? I hope you told him you can't take security along. Dad doesn't need to know. Whoa, who are you, girl? And what did you do to my perfect friend? I'm just letting her take a back seat for a while. Later that day, I was going to the library to return some books when suddenly a hand grabbed my arm and pulled me into an empty classroom.
Listen, I'm sorry for last night, but it seems tragic that you've never eaten a pizza before. So, I got this for you. Take a bite. I promise you won't die.
Justin looked straight into my eyes, and for some reason, it made my heart skip a beat. It's amazing.
Not as amazing as you, though. I mean, you amaze me.
And why's that?
You're the only girl I know who looks like a goat eating a pizza.
What an absolute jerk! That weekend, when I snuck out of my house early in the morning for the camping trip, Naomi's car was already waiting for me. We drove for hours and reached a huge house by the lake in the middle of nowhere. Where are we? And where are the camp people? Kiara, don't be mad, but I lied to you. This isn't a camping trip. Justin and I decided to organize an overnight party, and I thought Dad's lake house would be perfect for it. What? You've gotta be mad. You know I hate parties. That's 'cause you've never been to one. Come on, Kiara, it's just one night. Even though I was super mad at Naomi, I agreed since I had no other option. Her driver had already left after dropping us off. As we went inside the lake house, I discovered Naomi had invited tons of people, including some of our classmates, and everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves. I stood like an outcast for a while until Naomi forced me to join everyone. And I must admit, I had a lot of fun. That night, we played Spin the Bottle, and I got partnered with none other than Justin. Our task was to spend an hour in the woods. Oh, come on, you can't be serious about this. It's just a stupid game.
Guys, I think Kiara's too chicken to do this. She's a scaredy cat.
Me? Scared? You've gotta be kidding. I marched ahead of Justin, and in a matter of minutes, we were out in the woods. Justin asked me to stop, but I was determined to prove my bravery. So I kept going, and soon we were lost.
You idiot. How are we gonna go back?
No one's ever called me an idiot. And why don't you open Google Maps or something?
Because there's no signal here.
We tried finding our way back, but when we couldn't, we fell asleep under a tree. When I woke up the next morning, I found myself lying awkwardly over Justin, drooling on his jacket. Oh God, I'm so sorry.
Ugh, you're heavy. I'm gonna have a sore back for a month. You could have woken me up and risked your anger. No thank you. Besides, I understand you're used to sleeping on soft mattresses.
I wanted to tell him his abs were anything but soft, but I knew better. Justin, I want to drop the browns in the bowl.
You want a what?
Oh, gosh. I need to use the washroom.
And where will your highness find it in the middle of this jungle?
No need to be so snarky. I'll go find one myself.
Where do you think you're going? Don't even think of wandering alone unless you want to end up in some bear's browns.
He then pointed towards a big rock and asked me to finish my business behind it. We spent that day wandering through the woods. Thankfully, Justin knew how to climb trees and he plucked lots of fruit that kept us going. We talked about random things and I found myself getting attracted to him with each passing second. He was funny, smart, and incredibly handsome. And for some reason, I felt totally at ease with him. I told him everything about my life, my love for theater and Dad's expectations of me. He told me about his younger sister who was sick and that he was working 2 jobs after school to earn money for her treatment.
That's why I was at your home that night delivering pizzas.
You aren't who I thought you'd be. You pretend you don't care, but deep down, you're actually a good person.
And you're trying so hard to earn your dad's approval that you've forgotten to have your own life to live.
You don't get it. It's not that easy.
It isn't so complicated either. Okay, close your eyes and see yourself as a politician giving a speech. Do you like it?
Yeah, kinda.
Now, picture yourself on stage, giving the best performance of your life.
In that moment, I imagined myself as Juliet, delivering my lines with such confidence that the audience cheered loudly. It felt so surreal that my eyes flew open.
So, which scenario did you like better?
I don't know.
Don't lie to yourself. You have one life, Kiara. Live it the way you want to.
Suddenly, Justin's face was so close to mine that I forgot to breathe. Then he gently lifted my chin and kissed me. It was the most magical moment of my life. Just then, we heard the sound of helicopters and we started shouting and waving like maniacs to catch their attention. Soon, a team of paramedics rescued us, and when I finally reached home, I thought Dad would be relieved to see me. But to my surprise, he looked furious.
I can't believe you would be so reckless, Kiara. Do you have any idea how much negative publicity we've got?
Dad, I was lost in the woods for hours, and all you care about is negative publicity? I stormed off to my room, wishing I'd never been rescued. That night, I was about to go to sleep when I got a call from Naomi that left me stunned. I wish I'd never invited you to my party. Your dad is literally ruining my life. He got my college application canceled by telling the dean stories about my reckless attitude. And he even got Justin fired. You knew how the guy was working so hard to save money for his sister's treatment. But Naomi, I didn't save it, Kiara. I wish you had a spine. Saying that, she hung up on me, but I felt my blood boil. How could Dad do such things? I ran to Dad's study and confronted him, and he didn't even bother denying it.
They got what they deserved.
That was it. Something in me snapped that day. Dad, how could you? That college was Naomi's dream, and Justin's working 2 jobs so he can afford his sister's treatment.
I don't care. Those kids were distracting you from your goal.
My goal? Says who? Did you even consider for a second that I may not want to be a politician? All my life, I worked so hard to make you happy, but I just can't do it anymore. For the first time in my life, I shouted at Dad, and he looked stunned. The next 2 days, I refused to eat anything until Justin got his jobs back and Naomi's admission was restored. Ultimately, Dad had to listen to me. Then, when I told Dad a few days later that I planned to join an acting school in the US after I finished high school, he threw a massive fit. But I was no longer the Kiara he could dominate. I knew Dad had bribed the college dean into kicking Naomi out, so I threatened to tell the press about it. I'll create a massive media frenzy, one you'll never come out of. I knew Dad's reputation meant everything to him, so he had to agree. I moved to the US, and over the next few years, I worked my butt off and became a popular actress. One day, I was backstage after a performance when I heard a familiar voice.
Autograph, please?
Yeah, for me too. Justin? Naomi? I was so happy to see them both that I jumped and hugged them. We sat and talked for hours. I told Naomi how I felt so ashamed of what Dad did that I never contacted them. I thought they hated me. Naomi told me she'd graduated from an even better college and apologized for her bad temper that day. And Justin told me how he'd saved up enough money for his sister's surgery and had even started his own pizza chain back in Norway. I am just so happy for you guys.
Can you maybe make me even happier by going to dinner with me? How does this weekend sound?
Oh, really? And what if I say no?
I'll try again and again and again.
I shut him up with a kiss as Naomi cheered us on. Hi everyone, I'm Alba from Hollywood. I knew some girls who had fame, kind and supportive parents, or cute boyfriends, but I was the only girl I knew who had all three. My boyfriend was the best. We met on the set of my first big role. I was an actress and I was nervous to act in front of these amazing people who were also talented and experienced. The first person I met that day wasn't nice at all. This super pretty girl walked up to me and immediately started yelling at me. I recognized her from TV and magazine covers. She was an actress named Jamie Hart. Where are the rest of the vegan options? I've told you guys I don't know how many times I'm not eating this stuff. Sorry, I'm not the caterer. I'm an actress, like you. Oh, sweetie, there's no one like me. I'm one of a kind. Good luck, though. I didn't know what to say. When she left, I felt even more scared. Was this what it was going to be like working on a big show? Rude people treating me like I'm their servant? But then right after that, this random guy approached me. He must have noticed how anxious I was because he pretended to trip into the craft service table to cheer me up. Everyone else looked over like he was crazy, but I couldn't stop laughing.
First day?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
I was too when I first started.
How did you get over it?
Oh, I didn't. I'm terrified right now.
He grinned at me, and I could tell he was joking. I was having a hard time imagining him ever being scared. He was so comfortable and at ease with himself. I wondered what his job was on set.
Just remember, you're here for a reason. You wouldn't have gotten this job if you didn't nail the audition. You'll be great. I'm Malik, by the way.
And then right after that, I found out he was an actor too, and my co-star on the show. We became close really quickly, and then things turned romantic, and he asked if I wanted to make it official. He got along with my parents, and even my dog was obsessed with him. So my first day got off to a bit of a bumpy start, but things were great now. I felt so much more comfortable on set. It took me some time, but I realized that Malik was right. I was there for a reason. The only person still rude to me was Jamie, but whatever, I didn't care. She was clearly just insecure and felt threatened by my success. Even though I didn't get nervous about my job anymore, there was still one thing that really scared me: my family's curse. Okay, curses aren't real, but I couldn't help worrying anyway. When my mom and grandma were my age, they both ran into some really bad luck. My grandma got into a car accident, and my mom almost got trapped in a house fire. Besides, I'd been lucky for so long. No one could have a perfect life forever. Malik and I got dinner at my favorite restaurant for my birthday. Malik gave me this gorgeous diamond necklace, and the food was amazing. But I couldn't fully enjoy my meal because I was thinking about this stupid curse.
Babe, you know there's nothing to worry about, right? What happened to your mom and grandma was a coincidence. Besides, they're both still here. They got through it.
I know, you're right. I just get anxious sometimes, even when my brain tells me it makes no sense.
You know what I do when I'm feeling anxious?
Before I could ask, there was a loud bang as Malik slammed his knee against the table, pretending to hurt himself. Our plates and silverware jumped, and half the restaurant turned to stare at us. I started laughing. I loved that Malik was willing to make a fool of himself just to make me smile. The table started to shake again. Okay, Malik, you should probably stop before they kick us out.
That isn't me.
All of a sudden, the walls started to shake too. I heard glass shattering, and people were getting up from their tables. Everyone was scared.
Don't panic. It's an earthquake. Come on.
We ran for the exit. Just before we got to the door, I remembered I forgot my necklace. I started to turn back for it, but before I could move, a big chandelier ripped from the ceiling and fell right on top of me. Then everything went dark. There was a strange beeping sound. What was that? When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed. My parents were looking down at me with worried faces, and there was someone else there too, a boy who I didn't recognize.
Alba, We are so glad you're awake. You scared us. What happened? There was an earthquake. You had an accident at the restaurant where you and Malik were having dinner. I guess the boy's name was Malik. But why was I having dinner with him? Oh, my head was pounding. I must have hit it pretty hard. What's the last thing you remember? I just got the call back letting me know I got the role, and I was on my way to the studio to start my first day. Oh no, I hoped I hadn't missed my first day. I'd worked so hard to get this role. Honey, you really don't remember anything after that? About the show? About me? Do we know each other? Malik looked so sad in that moment, but I didn't know what to do. Everything was so foggy, and my head was killing me. After I got home from the hospital, my mom sat me down and explained everything. I had amnesia, and I was missing almost a full year of memories because of my concussion. She said my show was really successful and I was a popular actress, and that boy from the hospital was my boyfriend. After you fell, he ran back into the restaurant to carry you out while the whole building was shaking. We're very fortunate that he was there to help. Wow, sounds like that boy Malik might have saved my life. On set the next day, everyone was so sweet and understanding. Even though I didn't remember all the acting I had been doing, the super famous actress named Jamie Hart went through the scripts with me and helped me catch up. I saw Malik too. He smiled and waved. I think he could tell I still didn't remember him though, because he turned sad and didn't come over to talk. The strangest thing happened. When the director called action, I didn't feel nervous at all. I had been so scared to start my first day, and I barely slept at all the night before, but here I was, nailing it. Then I remembered, this wasn't my first day. It just felt like it was because of my injury. It was all so strange. After a while though, I got back into my routine. Things were going really well with the show. Jamie and I became great friends. We'd go on shopping sprees and have spa days and everything. I was surprised one day at the studio when Malik approached me. I felt like he had been avoiding me. He was always sweet when we spoke, but it was usually just small talk, and that sad look never left his eyes. Hey, I wanted to ask you something. I know everything's messed up and weird since the accident, but you're someone really special to me. And I know you don't remember, but I was someone special to you too. Maybe we could start over. What did you have in mind? Something casual, no pressure. There was a smoothie place you really liked. Maybe we could hang out there. That I hadn't forgotten. Strawberry banana was my favorite. That would be nice. Malik and I got smoothies later and strolled around the park. The way the sun shimmered on the pond was so pretty, and Malik was so nice and funny. I could see why I must have liked him. I felt bad though because he seemed to know so much about me, but everything he told me about himself was brand new information. I tried really hard to remember, but I just couldn't. Ugh, stupid earthquake. On set the next day, Jamie came up to me after she saw Malik and I talking. Look, I don't know if I should say this because I don't want it to seem like gossip. What is it? You can tell me. Jamie glanced around and lowered her voice. It's about Malik. I'd be careful around him. He's one of those people who only talks to successful people because he's trying to boost his own career. It's pretty gross. I was shocked. That wasn't the vibe I got from Malik at all. But Jamie knew him much better than I did, and she'd been such a good friend to me since my accident. We were best friends before that too. At least, that's what she told me. Malik and I were supposed to hang out again that day after we finished filming, but I told him I wasn't feeling very well. I could tell he was disappointed. It made me doubt myself for a second. Was this really the right decision? We had fun getting smoothies, and my mom said he saved my life. But then I remembered what Jamie told me. Hollywood was full of fake people. You had to be on guard to protect yourself. What if he had lied to my mom about saving me? Jamie came over one night so we could practice lines. I had a huge monologue the next day, and I wanted it to be perfect. Jamie was so generous with all the time she put into helping me. Suddenly, my dog Rocco started to growl at her. Rocco! I couldn't believe it. Rocco was such a sweet and lazy dog. He loved everyone. What's his problem? Sorry, he must have smelled one of your pets. He's not usually like this. I don't have any pets. The next day, Malik approached me while we were getting ready to film. Hey, is everything okay? I tried calling and texting, but you never answered. Yeah, I've just been really busy. Okay, Alba. Have fun with your new best friend, I guess. What's that supposed to mean? You blew me off last week, and now you're giving me the cold shoulder. And you spend all your time with Jamie, who you don't even like. Of course I like her. And Jamie has really been there for me since my accident.
You barely even talked to me until a few days ago.
I was trying to give you space. I'm sorry, I didn't know how to handle you forgetting me. It was like we were strangers again, except I still had all these great memories of us together.
I didn't ask to get a concussion. You're acting like I did it on purpose.
That's not what I meant. I'm sorry. I'll leave you alone from now on.
I thought my day couldn't get any worse, but just then, the director came up to me and told me that my monologue had been given to Jamie. I was devastated. I found Jamie getting her hair and makeup done for the big scene. Hey, what happened? They just told me that you're doing my monologue instead. Oh, I told them that you were still feeling really tired from your accident and weren't up for such a big dramatic scene. I thought you'd be happy. Thought I'd be happy? You knew how important this was to me. Why would you do that? I thought you were my friend. That's how things work here, sweetie. It's really not a big deal. And if you don't mind, I need to get ready for my monologue. I spent the rest of the day trying not to cry. I felt like Jamie had taken a mask off and I'd finally seen the real her. A selfish monster who'd been using me this whole time. At the end of the day, I snuck onto an empty set and finally cried and let it all out. Everything was so messed up. My accident had ruined my life. It was that stupid curse. I knew it. My mom might not believe in it, but how could she say it wasn't real now? I stared at the set. It was this huge, dark sky filled with galaxies and stars and comets. The door opened. Malik saw me and started to head over, a little bit hesitant. Suddenly, he tripped over an electrical cord and almost fell. I burst out laughing. He was such a goofball. He smiled and sat down beside me.
Hey, so I know I said I'd leave you alone, and I still will if that's what you want, but I wanted to give you this first. I went back for it after the accident.
Then he took out this beautiful necklace. It looked oddly familiar. When he handed it to me, our fingers touched, and suddenly, everything came rushing back to me like a flood. Malik and I were playing with my dog Rocco, the two of us cuddling while we watched a movie, on the red carpet together getting our photos taken. I remembered it all. Malik. I took his hands. He looked at me with a puzzled expression, and then he saw it in my eyes. That I remembered him. That I remembered us. He leaned in and kissed me in front of the galaxies and stars. A moment later, a security guard came in.
Hey, you guys can't be in here.
Malik and I laughed and then raced off the set holding hands. The next day, I found out that Jamie had been fired. It turned out that she was only acting like my best friend because she had heard a rumor that her character was being written off the show. I would have tried to help her if she'd just been honest with me, but now it was too late. Anyway, things went back to normal. Eventually, I stopped thinking about the curse. It wasn't real anyway. The only real thing was life's ups and downs, and I couldn't control that. All I could do was be here in the moment. In this moment, I was enjoying a strawberry banana smoothie with my boyfriend, and it was perfect. Malik grinned at me.
You know what would make this moment even more perfect? If more people liked and subscribed to MSA,
He said with a knowing wink. I couldn't help but laugh at his suggestion.